Imagine Wonderland growing up as a child. Think back to the 19th century novels, to the colorful Disney movie, to the modern adaptations. One version belongs in the era of old-school PC games. This is Alice's adventures in Wonderland from the perspective of American McGee. This was released as a third-person action game in 2000 by Rogue Entertainment. As the only survivor of a house fire that killed her family, Alice is committed to a psychiatric hospital where she undergoes treatment. Abused by the staff and still institutionalized 10 years later, she finds herself back in Wonderland, corrupted by her broken mind, where she must fight against the wicked Queen of Hearts and her minions. The game itself is standard fare. Pick up weapons, kill your enemies, and get to the end. It's a very linear game, but there's a lot of things that make the playthrough worth your time and money. Let's talk about the weapons. You don't call them weapons, you call them toys. Most of the toys have a secondary fire mode you can take advantage of. You start off with a Vorpal blade which you can either throw or hack away with. Playing cards give you an early ranged attack for dealing with airborne monsters. An enchanted croquet mallet is used to shoot electrified croquet balls, or as a mallet. Jack bombs. Self-explanatory. The ice wand freezes your enemies solid and can create walls of ice as a secondary function. Jumping jacks swarm a target with, well, jumping jacks. If you're feeling lucky, the demonic dice gives you a chance to spawn a demon to clear out the area. The Jabberwock's eye staff is tied to the storyline, and it feels good, man. You can either fire a continuous beam which ends in a secondary explosion, or you can call down a meteor shower, whatever tickles your fancy. Finally, we have the Blunderbuss, the most powerful yet simplest toy in the game. You fire, and they die. Willpower can be considered the ammunition for the toys, or if you prefer, consider it your mana pool. Meta Essence is the life force of Wonderland, giving you sanity and willpower. You collect this mainly from the corpses of your fallen enemies, but you can find some spread across the level. One thing to note is that your willpower is extremely limited, so it's usually almost expended after every engagement. This is balanced out by the fact that every enemy drops Meta Essence, so don't hold back. There are numerous platforming sections you will come across, but the developers put in a good amount of effort to minimize annoyance to the player. You'll notice a pair of footprints when you aim at another platform. All you need to do is jump, and the game does the rest. Some parts of the game even use updrafts to allow Alice to float with her dress. Since you're spending less effort jumping from one place to another, take a look around and appreciate the game you're inside. A lot of thought went into the level design, and it really shows with its variety of sick and twisted environments. In one level, you're in a school collecting ingredients for a potion. In another, you're out running a giant marble. At a couple locations in the game, you have to get through the area using the movement rules of chess. There's just so much diversity in the game that you'll keep playing just to see what it throws at you next. The varied environments don't just cater to the gameplay, but also to the graphics. As the saying goes, a picture is worth 1,000 words. Here, I'm showing you a video worth over 9,000 pictures. The graphics are just that good. The locations of Wonderland go extremely well together with Alice's insanity. Looking Glass Land carries the chessboard theme, and the Mad Hatter's laboratory is decorated with his test subjects and his obsession for time. These are levels you will never see in any other game. Their nonsensical nature fits perfectly with the theme of Wonderland. Even the 3D models look amazing. The animations are silky smooth when playing at 60 frames per second. You're going to be looking at Alice the entire game, so they gave you something to look at. There's a wide array of enemies to fight, starting with the card guards, and moving on to army ants, automatons, and even chess pieces. All of these monsters have their own set of attacks, and offer players their own challenges. The bosses are also well thought out, making use of the major characters like the Duchess,
Properly seasoned, you'd make a handsome dish.
Tweedledee and Tweedledum,
Nurse's favorite lunatic.
the Mad Hatter,
A return trip to the asylum, for example.
the Jabberwock,
Oh, but you were in Dreamland taking tea with your friends.
and of course, the Wicked Queen of Hearts.
Off with her head.
The controls are very smooth, responsive, and can be configured to your heart's content. I don't feel limited by the controls in any way, so if you miss a jump or move into the line of fire, it's your own fault. A responsive camera can make or break a third-person shooter, and American McGee's Alice delivers crisp camera movements. Your view is never obscured, even when your back is against the wall. The overall audio is just as good as everything else. I especially like the sound of the Vorpal blades slicing into your enemies, but all the sounds of the toys and the surrounding environments were done very well. The story is told through its many cutscenes, complete with voiceovers, and they are very good for the most part.
Enough. So you've no brandy.
I'm here to retrieve the turtle's shell. I won't leave without it.
Alice speaks with a stiff British accent, and the Cheshire Cat gives advice in the most cryptic way possible.
Doors have locks. Locks need keys, which you don't have. Let's hope the doors are open.
The music has a creepy and gothic feel to it. They make use of music boxes and toy instruments to create a childlike melody, which is then mixed with clocks and nightmarish screams and cries. It fits perfectly with the world Alice is in. Even though everything just goes so well together, there are some things I have to be critical about. Two things are missing from this game: multiplayer and modding. Being a PC-exclusive game running under a modified id Tech 3 engine, it has highly optimized network code that's not being used. A third-person shooter deathmatch is not something you see often, and with its crazy toys and twisted theme, this game could have offered a unique multiplayer experience. Then there's the whole lack of ability to mod the game. Again, going back to the engine, the tools to mod the game and make the levels already existed at the time. There are custom models and skins available for download, but that seems to be the limit to what the community can make. So no tactical shooter or zombie mods for this game. I've also noticed a small problem with the level design. There are some occasions where you're stuck on a stepping stone or in a wedge in the level's geometry when it looks like you shouldn't. It's simple enough to back up and try again, but this can be annoying. Overall, it's an amazing single-player game. The controls are solid, the visuals are stunning, and the whole experience is something you rarely see. The game is moderately short and linear, with a few simple puzzles thrown in for good measure. I mainly like it for its mature theme, a reminder that as we grow up, so does our imagination. I would recommend this game to everyone. If you're interested in picking up a copy, you can obtain one from eBay for approximately $300. It depends. There are 10 different versions of the physical package itself, most of which are extremely rare. Then there's the action figures, which are worth quite a hefty sum. So if you like to collect these rare action figures in video games, this is the game for you.